What up? It's your boy Dave B. You're watching Dave Beyond TV, where we go beyond the everyday bullshit that people be consuming on a day-to-day basis. And you know what I'm saying, I'm on my way to Atlanta real quick. You know what I'm saying, doing some film work and shit like that. But I was just thinking and shit like that about, you know, this time period we in, you know what I'm saying, the season we in, this Virgo season, so everybody trying to get to work, you know what I'm saying, and fuck trying, we all doing it, you know what I'm saying, if you're doing it right, you know what I'm saying, if you're doing it God's way, you know what I'm saying, you trying to get to the bag in some way.
Turn left.
Yeah, the navigation on shit, like, so, yeah, but I wanted to make this video in the spur of the moment, because I'm just feeling this vibration for real, and that's like, the point of the video is to say, yo, all you gotta do for real is show up. All you gotta do is show up. Like, and I'm speaking in terms of like in terms of this season, of course.
At the light, turn left onto US NIO and U01.
Because, you know, this season, you know, we in particular, we're going through an Earth transit. So for those of you who into astrology, and maybe even if you don't know astrology, the whole purpose of knowing astrology is not to get lost in it and create some kind of ego or identity behind it, or even condemn yourself to just being what your natal chart says you are. It's the whole point of it is to understand your energies, and it's a tool for you to see how these things. It's like basically a tool. It's a map of looking at your internal energies and shit like that, and seeing you as the spirit, you as the creator, you use these tools in the best way you know how. But you know what I'm saying, a lot of us, and see, the thing about it is, you don't need astrology to be spiritual. You don't need astrology for shit. But it's just a nice tool to use that we can use also by looking at the daily transits.
Miles, turn right to merge onto I-16 West.
We can look at the daily transits through these, and alongside of our natal chart and shit like that, in order to know how to ride the energetic current of the time period we going through at the current moment. Now, I know that sounded kind of choppy and shit like that, but just kind of bear with me. I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying, get this information out the best way I can. And at this point in time, like, going back to explain these things, you know what I'm saying, I go through it a little fast because, you know what I'm saying, like, I don't know. I don't expect shit. You know what I'm saying? I know on my channel and shit like that, there's probably all kinds of different people on my channel for real, on different waves. I like to, you know, kick things in a way that everybody can understand, or everybody can overstand it for real. You know what I'm saying? So I want everybody to be able to, like, kind of just feel where I'm coming from. You know what I'm saying? But just to let y'all know, like, you know, why astrology a lot of times ends up being a thing that I constantly use in order to bring, you know, make references and shit like that for energies, is because really, when you think about life itself, like in this lifetime, like that's what the fuck is really going on. We are all creators, right? But you got to know your tools in order to create the best way you can. And you know what I'm saying, you don't need the same tools as someone else in order to create a beautiful picture. You know what I'm saying? You don't. You know what I'm saying? So that's the truth in it. Whatever the fuck your system and your tools are, that's what your tools are. You know what I'm saying? So it don't really matter in the long run as far as, you know, what you actually do. It's just making sure that you doing it the best way you can and in your own unique way. You know what I'm saying? That's what it means for God's way. You know what I'm saying? To do it in your own unique way. And you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and that goes into many different categories. I can get more specific and shit like that, but that's not the point. But I did want to go ahead. Let's go all the way back to the point of this video. So the present moment, like I said, I'm bringing this up because we in an Earth transit. So what I mean by we in an Earth transit is Virgo season, as far as where the sun is at. So the sun is where the main focus of the time, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's all the planets really is doing, is tracking time. And like, time ain't shit but keeping track of certain spaces, right? And when we return to those spaces, like when we talk about like the sun, like the way we track the sun in the days is just like for instance, every day at high noon, for instance, it's like all we doing is like watching the sun go to the same place it go to day in and day out. You know what I'm saying? And now, like, how people are looking at the sun and shit like that, now that's a whole different conversation and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, but for the sake of this conversation, I'm just saying, like, you know what I'm saying, that's really where we referencing time from, is we just looking at a particular space in the sky and calculating when it's gonna go back to that space the same time. You know what I'm saying? It's like your birthday. You know, you calculate your age based upon how many times the sun, you know what I'm saying, was like, and this is the thing about birthdays. You know, people we do it based upon the calendar, you know what I'm saying? So when we calculate it, we'll just follow the same day. For instance, your birthday, you know what I'm saying, you celebrate it on the same day, but you know, if we're really getting technical, the degree that your sun was at when you were born is your actual birthday. So that's really the day you should be celebrating. That's when it's going to be more in your favor of your energy, as if it really is your birthday. So, you know, this could land on a different degree every year, you know what I'm saying, based upon the calendar that we using and shit like that, and it not being, you know what I'm saying, entirely accurate. It's a system that other people created in order to get your mind on their schedule. But that's a whole different conversation as well. I don't know why I'm going so deep in this shit, but I guess this shit just really is that deep, you know what I'm saying? But getting back to what I was saying, so when we thinking about this shit, right, and returning to space and shit, okay, that's just a more shit about astrology and shit like that. But the point, we going through an Earth transit, so the sun in the sky right now is what we're energetically paying attention to. So that shit is in Earth. So Earth, and this gets to another point that I'm going to go even further on about elements. So the element right now is Earth. The earth element is all about being in the present. You know what I'm saying? The fire is about the future. Air is about all three, really. It's kind of like in all realms. Air is like the past, present, and future, while water deals with the past. And the reason for this is because when you really think about it, like whenever you're really in a feeling is built upon experience. You know what I'm saying? If you haven't had an experience with something that affected you in a certain way, you're not going to really feel too heavily about whatever it is, you know, and whatever you do feel, chances are you're giving it a feeling based upon a reference of something that reminds you of the new thing that you're interacting with. So that's how feelings work. So that's water energy. Water energy deals with the past. It's reflective. Fire deals with the future, because really fire is like, you know, when we talk about visions, you know, having visions, these things are things that are not materialized yet before our eye, like not materialized in us in the present, but it's something that we can foresee, you know, having foresight and things of that nature, you know what I'm saying? Foreshadowing. I'm phoning them and shit. Nah, foreshadowing and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? The storytelling and shit. So when you think about, you know, the fire is all about the future and shit like that. Now, air is dealing with all three, because really when you're thinking, when you're using your thoughts, and even when you're communicating, like sentences are constructed on all ways. You know what I'm saying? Like, sentences can be used to describe something in the past, something in the present, and something in the future. If you're writing a sentence, there's a way to write it, or a way to communicate a reference in all directions, in all not directions, but you know what I'm saying, you get what I'm saying. Like, I'm watching the road and shit, trying to fucking do this video and shit. But you know what I'm saying, y'all get my point, right? So yeah. So we going through an Earth transit. So understanding elements and shit like that. So Earth, like I said, deals with the present. We just gonna go in on Earth, but I'm gonna do a separate video explaining the other elements and shit like that. We're gonna get deep into this shit for real. So getting back to the point, because we in the Earth transit and we dealing with the present, right? Since we're in the Earth transit and we're dealing with the present, it's basically like I said, so since the sun is in the Earth, it is in Virgo. Right? The sun is in Virgo. The best way we can use our actions, right, and the way we see things and participate.
Turn right to merge onto I-16 West.
And participate in the world around us, right? Utilizing the energy of where the sun is at currently, is the better we'll be able to ride the wave and shit like that. So right now, it's like, it's all about being in the present. It's all about using earth energy. And earth energy is also thinking and being practical. You know what I'm saying? So thinking is like logic, like it was different than with earth and air, right? For instance, air is more logic. Logic is something you're utilizing to kind of like it's like more like, it's logic is more how do I say it? Like, logic is more in the line of communication, in the sense that, like, with communication, it's like it's kind of like debating, right? When you're using your logic and shit like that, it's like kind of trying to come to a point, trying to come to an objective point. It's like a process. And like, when you think of earth energy, practicality is more like a solidification of something. Like, practicality is more like figuring something out. And so, like, it's a process too, It's like, I don't think process is the best word to describe it, but earth energy and practicality is different than logic. Logic is like something that like is up for debate, and you're like using it and trying to apply it, you know what I'm saying? So it's like a back and forth type thing. It's a building type thing. When practicality is building is the same way, but it's like internal building. Logic is more external building. You know what I'm saying? Logic is like trying to apply logic to, like, it's like, hold on, I'm about to pull in real quick. Trying to gather my thoughts and shit like that. But like, you know what I'm saying? Logic is more like, you know what I'm saying? When you're dealing with communication, it's more like you're throwing something out there to be built upon. You know what I'm saying? When you're dealing with practicality, it's an internal process. I could have just said that for real. One is internal, one's external. You know what I'm saying? But one is building upon a process and shit like that, while the other one is one is internal and the other one is just external. So with this earth energy, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot about going internal and shit like that.
Then turn left onto Akins-Anderson Road.
It's a lot of. Hold on, let me pull into this real quick. Yeah, so when you're dealing with earth energy, you know what I'm saying, it's more of an internal process. You know what I'm saying? You're doing more work internally than you know, when you're just utilizing say you're trying to utilize logic. You know what I'm saying? Logic is more like an external process where you're building upon it with others. You know what I'm saying? It's more like communication and shit like that, you know, things of that nature. So, you know what I'm saying? Being that, yeah, like I said, we in the earth.
Turn left onto Akins-Anderson Road, then turn right.
We in an earth transit right now. So with the earth transit and shit like that, it's basically a situation where, you know what I'm saying, it's about the present moment. It's about being practical. It's about taking action. But that action that we're taking is more like internal, calculated, making sure we making sense out of things. And that's what I was really trying to get at. I'm glad I'm looking at it now. This video not too long and shit like that. But it's really a sense of making sense out of things and shit like that. So, you know, when we're doing this and shit, you know, the better we can make sense out of our situation, the better we can kind of map things out and make the best practical move in the sense of like whatever makes sense for us to make at the moment. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's in a different situation. Not the same thing ain't going to apply for everybody. The same thing ain't going to work for everybody. So, you know what I'm saying? It's just these are the type of things we got to keep in mind and shit like that. So, you know, saying going on with this, like I was saying, like all you got to do is show up. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole point. Like that's what I'm getting at. All you got to do is show up for this season and beyond this season for real. Because, you know, outside of just astrology and shit like that, astrology, like I said, is a tool. And when you can really get nice with it and shit like that, it's like it turns into a situation in which you can always ride the current. You know, not you don't need astrology to always ride the current, but it's just a good tool to use. You know what I'm saying? Because it tells you directly what the energies are in, and then you can better apply. You know, the better you know yourself, the better you know the natural energies you I don't want to say fall victim to, but you know what I'm saying, these are patterns that we participate in just based upon us being us, or us choosing the vessel that we chose with the certain attributes and energy levels and percentages that we chose to jump in. You know what I'm saying? So it's all us. But, you know what I'm saying, at the same time, like, it's, you know, this world makes it very difficult for you to know yourself. You know what I'm saying? You got to go through a lot of different things just to kind of know yourself, because of all the different distractions and the magic squares that we got to participate in and give time to, when we really should be giving time to ourselves and shit like that. Y'all get what I'm saying? So all you got to do is show up. My main point is just to say, look, whatever it is that you're trying to do in the world, there's nothing stopping you. You know what I'm saying? The only thing stopping you is you. And to get beyond the cliches, it's just like when you presently show up and just experience something, you learn a lot more, bro. You learn a lot more than trying to calculate everything prematurely, trying to prejudge and trying to go about things the best way possible. A lot of people try to do things based upon a perfection system, trying to be perfect at something, trying to not make a mistake. But that's highly unrealistic. And even if you are able to succeed and not make a mistake, it's like, whenever you live like that, this is you putting yourself at a detriment, because it's like you truly don't ever get the full grasp of an experience if you trying to tiptoe around it, if you pussyfooting around it, because it's like a lot of things in this world you'll realize it's like whatever you put in is what you get out. So if you are inching and trying to pussyfoot around and shit just to get into it, what you gonna get out is crumbs. You're not even gonna get the full totality of what the fuck you was trying to get into, simply because you was scared to actually jump in. So what you get out is the equivalent. It's not enough to sustain anything. And you know what I'm saying? And a lot of times we create a narrative in our mind about how something's going to be, and it ends up proving us right. But that's not because that thing is what it is. It's because we are creators. You projected that shit onto whatever you jumped in, and you got a result from that shit. And voila, here we are. You feel me? So it's like, this is something we got to keep in mind and shit like that. And we can't keep getting in our own ways when it comes to this kind of shit. So, you know, going forward, all you got to do is show up, meaning drop the anxiety, drop the nervousness. It ain't shit. Whatever it is that you afraid to do, it ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? And like, you might be looking at me. I know we all going through different things, and we all doing different things. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's not to say, you know what I'm saying, what you're going through, I don't mean to belittle it. I'm not doing that. But what I'm saying is, you need to be talking to yourself and realize that this shit is just about experiences. This lifetime, this shit is all temporary for real. So this shit not, you know what I'm saying? This shit not, it's like people are serious in the wrong areas. People be serious as shit when it comes to making a mistake, but don't know how to lighten up when it come to like shit that you supposed to lighten up. Like, you know, like work and shit like that, like making money and shit like that. Making money ain't gotta be depressing and shit. It ain't gotta be so heavy. It ain't gotta be depressing. But that'd be the first thing people want to mope around about. You got all these creative attributes, but you just too flunked out in your own emotional funk to get up and actually make a change and make money for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And actually succeed in what it is that you know you're capable of doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the shit I be talking about. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? We gotta be wise. Like, we gotta be strong. You know what I'm saying? And that's another element, earth element quality. You know what I'm saying? Being strong, doing things. You know what I'm saying? And hold on, being strong. You know what I'm saying? Like when it's time. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be able to. You know, I can go on and shit like that, but my point is just being like, look, all you gotta do is show up to it. Because see, what it is like, even if you doing something right, and say you get in there and you make a bunch of mistakes and shit like that, it's like, if it's something that you truly believe in, like that you capable of doing, and something you really know you being called to do, no matter how difficult it is, you always going to be put in a situation where you start to peak game. And like, if it's truly for you, you'll start to follow, you'll find the steps. You'll create the steps. That's what it is. You won't find them. And that's the thing. People be looking for that shit. You create the steps as you going through them, because it's like, that's really God's way, because God is creating in the instant. As new experience come, as uncomfortable things come and develop in that experience, God is creating a better circumstance for itself in the moment. That's why God is a parameter. God is a space. God is not a motherfucking person. You know what I'm saying? We got to get out of that. I know subconscious community, soul group. We know better. We beyond that shit. But I'm talking to, like I said, this channel. You know, I don't know who on this motherfucker. So like, and I appreciate y'all being here, and I realize that people listen when I speak and shit like that, and I be saying some real shit. But you know what I'm saying? Like, getting back to, you know, the point of the video and shit like that. Look, like, the present is precious. Like, that's all we got. Like, listen to my mixtape, yo. Listen to the mixtape. This is like kind of what the mixtape is about, low key. You know what I'm saying? You get to the very end of the mixtape, there's a sound bite from A.A. Rashid. I don't know how to say his name for real, but you know, he on IG and shit like that. And yo, like, this nigga like talking about like some real shit, like, you know, just the skillful use of the now. You know what I'm saying? Y'all need to hear that quote for real. I wish I would have bumped it up in the in the mix, but y'all need to listen to that shit for real, because like that's some real shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, when it comes down to it, it's like, man, the skillful use of the now is everything. And that's why I say it go beyond this shit, because then it becomes a spiritual thing. And like I said, astrology and spirituality, they not, you know what I'm saying? You don't need, it's like, just be spiritual. Just be spiritual. And being spiritual is just doing things in your own unique way, and having that faith and belief in yourself, and using your imagination in the proper way for your benefit and shit like that. Lightening your load and shit like that. Traveling as a spirit in this light body, you know what I'm saying? Like, real shit. But the present, You know what I'm saying? Like, but like I said, you here in the present. You have to act in the present. And you have to be, all you got to do is show up. Once you show up, the rest will take care of itself. That's when you start to, you can analyze after. Analyzing is for after. You know what I'm saying? After you've experienced, or, you know, saying, making quick references in the midst of something, like just to, you know, keep you on your toes. You know what I'm saying? Like, being witty is just a matter of knowing how to make quick references and shit like that, but not get lost in trying to analyze what it is. You know what I'm saying? Also being able to communicate and speak up when there's clarity needed. You know what I'm saying? When you need clarity, even if you're just talking to yourself, that's clarity. That's a form of developing clarity. You know what I'm saying? You can get lost in that shit, but you know what I'm saying? You know, there's a way to use everything. You know what I'm saying? There's a way to use everything, but you know what I'm saying? Like I said, right now, it's like all you got to do is show up. You know what I'm saying? All you got to do is show up, especially right now. Like I said, we climbing out of unstable season. So right now, you got to be who you are. But part of being who you are is being fucking terrified. But turning that terrified energy into strength in your decisions. Because when you convince yourself that your nervousness or whatever it is that got you riled up is truly, it's like, no, I don't want to feel like that. I'm gonna be confident in whatever move I make, because I believe in myself and I know that whatever step I take is gonna be the right step for me. Boom. Right? And then when you actually go through the experience, good or bad, when you come out of it, you always come out of it with that much more confidence, because you did it your way. You know, you did it your way, and you stood on what the fuck you believed in. You know what I'm saying? And really, like, guys in the universe, they see that shit, and that's when they create situations for you to get over. And it's not even going to be a situation of getting over. It's going to be a situation of you just using your energy in a proper way. And whenever that happens, that's things going in your favor. That's you getting out of a situation that, you know what I'm saying, you putting yourself in a better situation every time. You know what I'm saying? So that's just something you got to keep in mind. But anyway, I got to get back on the road and shit like that. But you know what I'm saying? I love everybody. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all for real. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? It's time, yo. It's time we taking our power back. But the power is in the now. You know what I'm saying? The power is in the present, especially during this time period. When you ride the wave and shit like that, watch. You know what I'm saying? Because when this energy goes and it progresses into the next one, you'll be more prepared. And that's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, much love, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.